What is the three things that you should do every day to get rid of the negative self-talk in your head? So today I'm going to share with you the story from my good friend, William Triche, the leader of Northup Grumman Aerospace Logistic. He is an amazing, and the story is amazing. Well, let's do it. Welcome, William. How are you?
I'm
Let me
fine.
call you Bill.
You call me Bill. So you've been calling me, so why stop?
I can say the Northrop Grumman Aerospace Logistics. See, I can do that.
You can do it.
Yeah, I can do it. How are you today?
I'm fine. I'm outstanding.
Thank you so much for being my guest here for GoAllInTV.
Welcome. I'm excited.
This is my vision of meeting with a lot of achievers, a lot of successful people to bring the message to the world that I know that it's going to inspire a million people here. Tell us a little bit about your story.
Okay.
How do you get here?
I am born in Louisiana. I was born out of a bad affair that happened, and was put up for adoption. Went from foster home to foster home. Kind of the throwaway kid. Found my real father when I was 13 after in and out and homeless and a whole bunch of other stuff. But found my real father, moved in with him when I was 13. From there, I tried to get my life together. I had an opportunity to go to one school full time for my last 4 years of high school, which was great. And went to school, graduated. I knew I didn't want to be in Louisiana anymore, so my junior year of high school, I decided to join the military right out of high school. Signed up for the Air Force. The Air Force, I think, saved my life. They took me out of there. They gave me food, clothes, a job. Man, I thought it was just paradise. People were complaining about it. I loved it. Joined it as an enlisted guy. Learned how to be an aircraft mechanic on several different aircraft. Learned how to build missiles and bombs on ordnance. Also had an opportunity to meet my wife. Have 3 daughters. Also, the Air Force gave me an opportunity to go to college. I didn't think I would ever make it through childhood because I was very hungry at the time, and never thought I'd even have an opportunity to go to school, much less college. So after several years in the Air Force, one of my great mentors and supervisors challenged me and said, "Bill, you're doing so good in the Air Force. Why don't you become a leader? Why don't you become an officer?" And I said, "Well, that requires college." And he said, "Well, why is that stopping you?" I said, "Because I don't think I'm smart enough." So he said, "I do." I said, "Okay, let me try." Went to my first series of college classes while in the military full time. I was in Turkey, stationed in Turkey at the time. This is in 1990, the beginning of Desert Storm. Went to the first 4 college classes and aced them. And I thought, man, this is kind of cool. I did okay. And then just kept going back to back. And my supervisor said, he was a captain at the time. He said, now college is a habit to you. Don't stop going. Just make that a habit.
Right.
Talk to your wife and kids and just let that be the habit. And I did. And, Desert Storm kicked off. We had Desert Storm War in 91. Rockets came into the base we were at. I had to send my family home, put a little stop in college because we had to fight a little war. Then when my wife and kids came back, we went back to the States, to Arizona here, and finished my college. Got an associate's degree in aircraft armament systems. Went on to a bachelor's degree with a double major in professional aeronautics and aviation safety. And then went on to my master's degree, got an MBA, and then got another master's degree in global logistics. And then I got a third master's degree in
Wow.
international affairs, all through the military. So paid it. At the same time, my wife wanted to be a nurse.
Right.
While I was going to school to get my undergraduate, I was working 3 different jobs.
Right.
While in the military, it was 1 job, and then 2 other part-time jobs while going to college to have enough money to put my wife through nursing school. She's a nurse. She's an RN, BSRN, and we did that together while having 3 little girls, which we thank our lucky stars. The girls were so good for us. That they were just wonderful ladies. and even better adults. But they remember all that by example. So it was great. When I got through my first master's degree, I applied for officer training school, got picked up. I applied for all services. I didn't think I would get into the Air Force officer side, so I applied for the Navy, Air Force, and Army, and got picked up by all of them. So then I had to make a decision.
Right.
So I stayed with the Air Force because I really felt I owed the Air Force back,
Right.
and our nation, our great nation, our taxpayers that pay all that, right?
Right.
All those great benefits that we get. I used every one of them. And then became an officer, and then led several commands, deployed a dozen more times to many different locations. Every war we had in the last 25 years, I was there. Commanded several squadrons, commanded international squadrons, a couple NATO squadrons. Went into the AOR, the Area of Responsibility, Afghanistan, Iraq, Iran, Pakistan, Turkey, Saudi Arabia, all the fun places. A couple dozen countries in Africa. We were doing a lot of business in Africa, so been to about 30 of the countries, of the 51 countries in Africa. So been around, was
Right.
busy. Retired after 29 years. We were done, you know. My wife came back. My daughter started having grandbabies. So that pulled us back to the States. We ended up spending 15 years, about 15 years total with my deployment time overseas, between 13 and 14. And then the rest of the time back at stateside. When my daughter started having babies, we came back. I retired out. Came back here to the States, and then Orbital Sciences, Orbital ATK, which is now Northup Grumman, they build launch vehicles. They came and recruited me. They found I was getting out and needed some help getting
Right.
some stuff done. So they came, and I took a couple months off from the military, and then picked back up and
Right.
came right on, and took another group of 100 and started doing great things again with great people, and now promoting right through Northup Grumman.
You know, listen to you, it's just like, oh yeah, step by step, and you achieve a lot. But knowing your story before, this is not a luck. Do the people back home where you grew up say that, oh, Bill just got lucky? Did they say that?
Yeah, they have no clue on the amount
Right.
of work it took. They thought I was wasting my time by going to college. They supported me being in the military. They really, supported somebody being in the military. But I wasn't really close with a lot of them because I had grown up not knowing my family a lot, and then the ones I knew I wasn't close to, because like I've told you before, as a young boy, adults weren't very nice
Right.
to me.
They're not safe.
They're not safe. They weren't safe at all the way until I became an adult, right?
Right.
And I overcame all. And I've been homeless. I've been hungry. I've been abused, and nothing kept me down. I can get through all that. If I can get through that, this ain't nothing. So school ain't nothing, right?
So you thought before that you were not smart enough, right, to get to college, to get to all the degrees that you do. How can you overcome that? How can you stop? What's in your head?
I thought I wasn't smart enough, but what I knew I was good enough at was I knew I had a strong back, and I knew I had a strong drive. Nothing could shake me from that because I'd been to the bottom. I knew what the
Right.
bottom was, and I knew I could survive. So that didn't scare me. Failure didn't scare me. It still doesn't scare me because I've been at the very, very bottom, as low as you can go, and I've recovered, and I got over it. So that doesn't frighten me at all.
Once again, what do you think you do different? Because a lot of people who were at the bottom and still at the bottom, right? Because maybe they don't want to get out, or maybe they don't know how to get out. What do you think you do different?
I think surround yourself with a good network, right? If you're in a bad environment, you're going to become your environment.
But first, you got to have the desire to
gotta have the desire.
not be there, right?
Well,
to
you
not
gotta
end
have
up there too.
The desire and the awareness, right? Because
Right.
a lot of people don't know what success looks
Right,
like, right?
right.
They think success is
To have a lot of money.
having a beer tonight. Having a beer tonight is success.
Right.
If you're an alcoholic.
Okay.
Right? And that's just a whole nother horror.
Sure.
So success to an alcoholic is having a beer tonight. Or if you're a recovering alcoholic, success is not having a beer.
Right.
So there's
So that's two
different
things.
levels of achievement, right?
Right.
With the
Right.
same person, right? Depends on what your focus and your goal is. So mine was I had to make my goals grandiose, but take it at little chunks, right? So I said, I'm not smart enough to go to college, nor did I have the born with a silver spoon. So I knew I could I was strong and I could work hard. So I did that really hard in the military, and it got recognized because in the military you're rewarded for good performance, right? That I could do. I could work hard. I may not have been the smartest in the room, but I was the hardest working in the room, and I get hands down. So I knew that, and that hard work started getting recognized and rewarded with other stuff. Opportunity to go to school, opportunity for promotion, which brought money, which brought more opportunity. So each little incremental growth that you got built on
Built on
more,
that.
right?
Right.
Just like training for an athlete, training
Right.
for something.
Right.
You don't come into a yoga studio and you can do all the poses right off and you're great.
Sure.
It's every day you make a little bit more progress, a little bit more progress. In volleyball, you can't jump and dunk the net and you're cool and set up for everybody. Every day you get a little bit stronger, a little bit better, a little bit faster. So it's kind of the same. I think success builds on success, right? But also you got to have the mindset. You got to be
Right.
mindful of where you're at and be aware of where you're at. So to answer your question is what was different was you got to be aware of what success looks like to you, right?
Yeah.
Because my success to a millionaire is minuscule, right?
Right.
Hey, I'm a billionaire.
Right.
You're talking about hundreds of thousands? That's nothing.
Right.
But to a poor person, $100 is a lot of money.
Sure,
So
sure.
it depends on what perspective we're at to define success. I also know some very, very not so well off people that are the happiest in the world.
Sure.
They go fishing, they have their boat, they have their truck,
Yeah.
and they're the happiest people I've ever met.
Right.
And I admire them for that, right?
Sure. Very,
So,
very true.
so
Very true.
again, success
Define
is what
your
we
success.
exactly. You have to define it inside your mind and what your goals are,
Right.
and not just for yourself, but also I try to be a derivative, right? I try to push my successes off into my offspring, my children, to make sure that they can goal set and achieve and do great things with no barriers, and then or whatever barriers they are, they know they can overcome them.
Right.
Especially having 3 daughters, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't want them to think through sexism or through any of these weird discriminations that we have for some unknown reason
Right.
that it would stop them for any reason.
Right. Right.
So
So I'm pretty sure that, like from the bottom to where you at now, you have to fight a lot and to have to like put a lot of vitamin, right? The positive thoughts in your head. What is the 3 words that you always like say to yourself or do every day? What is your ritual?
So I have I'm big in acronyms, right? We're in the military and my aerospace world, we have acronyms for everything. So I use the MAD, M-A-D. You gotta
Okay.
get mad about it, right?
Gotta get mad about it.
MAD, the M is being mindful, right?
Okay.
First M is mindful. Having the mindfulness and the awareness to appreciate where you're at right now and appreciate the potential of what can be.
Right.
So be mindful, live the moment, enjoy the journey, enjoy the people around you, enjoy the environment. If it's not enjoyable, change it. And you have the decision making to change that, right?
Right.
But also, as you're going through that journey, don't rush it.
Yeah.
A lot of this takes time. Sit back, enjoy the ride.
Right.
Be aware, make sure you have the family or your friends or your loved ones to appreciate it with. So part of being mad, first one's mindful,
Okay.
right? Second one is A, right? The A,
Yeah.
attitude.
Right.
And I've talked about attitude before. Attitude is something that you can control,
Right.
right? You can't control what other people do. You can't control pay raises. You can't control COVID-19. You can't control any of these things. But what you can control is your attitude and the way you handle these things. That's totally your control.
Right.
So have the mindfulness to control your attitude, to be able to build your own character by how you act in situations, right?
Right.
Bad things happen, bad people happen, but you control your attitude and how you handle that.
Love
That
it.
builds a character that people associate you with
Right.
and go, ooh, don't tell Nim anything crazy because she gets mad and she's mean, you know? So that keeps the negative thoughts out of my head. So having the attitude and decide that I'm gonna take for what it is. I'm gonna do a course of action. I'm gonna get some decisions and then have the attitude that I'm gonna get through this, and I'm
Right.
going to be you and I talked about being a thermometer or a thermostat, right?
Yes.
So instead of measuring the temperature in a room, I want to control the temperature in a room. So I want to be the thermostat,
Right.
and you do that with a positive attitude, right? The third and final one is the D, being mad about having negative thoughts. The D is decide and act, right? So you have the mindfulness of being aware of the
Right.
journey.
You have the positive
you have that
attitude.
positive attitude. You decide, and then decide and act, right? So these decisions, which is your actions,
Sure.
right? And you can go negative or you can go positive. Again,
It's up to
completely up to
you.
you,
Yeah.
right? A lot of my colleagues share my personality. They're happy, but not all of them do, right? Some get up and they are, as soon as they get out of bed, they're in a bad space.
Yep.
And they put their feet on the floor and already
Things go
they're
wrong.
angry, right?
Right.
And they're thinking about the challenges and it's just overwhelming. And they decide then with negative thoughts in their head that they're going to have a poor attitude. And they're going to go out and they're going to think about this. And they don't have the mindfulness of all the positive things they're sitting in that's leading up to this thing that's giving them pressure, right?
Sure.
So I don't let one bleed to the other. So whatever you're in and whatever you're doing, enjoy it. Have the mindfulness to enjoy it.
I love
Have the
it.
positive attitude, and then decide and act, right? Control your actions and act on it.
Right.
And that keeps the negative thoughts out of your head. There's enough negativity going around. We don't need to multiply it. We can stop it.
You know, it's not easy to say. Oh, sorry, it's not easy to do. It's easy to say, but I know that it's very doable. Everything need practice, right? We all need to just decide if you're gonna do it, right?
Yeah.
So thank you so
Get
much.
mad about it, right?
Yeah, get mad
MAD,
about it.
mindful,
So-
attitude, decide.
I'll go home and tell my husband I'm gonna get mad about
Get
it.
mad about it. You should, right? Because that negative energy, it's so much more energy out of you to
Right.
be negative
Right.
than it is to be positive.
Right.
No, my goodness, why do you want to drain yourself of all that energy? I know I don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
Well, thank you so much,
You're
Bill,
welcome.
for all the knowledge and the mindfulness thing that you share with us. I know that it's gonna help a lot of people. Seriously, like stop, get mad in a different way, right? But focus on mindfulness, attitude, and this decision, right?
Yep,
Decision.
yep,
Make the
exactly
make the
right.
right decision. Do it.
Yep.
Just do it. Thank you so much, Bill.
You're welcome. Okay.
I always love talking to you.
Thank you.